on this episode of Big Drive Energy. It is a winner's week. All we do is win. DJ Khaled voice, Nuggets championship. We hit Nick Taylor this past weekend at the RBC Canadian Open, 60-1. We're just riding the high of life right now, and it's incredible. We're also going to talk about the incredible U.S. Open we've got coming up. It's already major week again. I can't believe it. They came in hot. Yeah, it came in hot on us. It seems like we just had the PGA Championship, but we are on to major week. We're going to preview LA Country Club. Doesn't sound snooty at all. And then we're going to give our picks because we're hot. I'm hot.
Yeah, I fucking suck.
Mitchell's mushing his guys. I'm hot as shit right now, but hey, we are a team. We do this as a team.
We ride together.
We ride for better, for worse, die together. So, and of course, this podcast is brought to you by Pins and Aces. If you guys are listening to this podcast audio version, make sure you check us out on the YouTube. You get to see our awesome Pins and Aces hats. I'm wearing the Joker hat. Mitchell's got the clean white hat on. I've got a couple of those in my closet. Literally my entire closet at this point is Pins and Aces. I have like a few other polos. Yeah. And now that we're collabing with them at DNVR, PHNX, going to be CHGO.
Their new 4th of July stuff they're dropping, fucking sick.
Yeah. And they've got, I was in their their Instagram advertisement today. No big deal. With some random kid.
I think they cut out your mullet. I didn't see your hair.
Really? Well, that was a windy day when we
maybe they're trying to make you look clean cut.
I mean, they could, but they've got the other dude that has long ass hair too.
It is Father's Day. They didn't want to.
Yeah, that is not my son, for the record. On that, my son is 6 pounds.
Unborn,
6 pounds currently. But pinsandaces.com, they've got the best joggers in the game. They've of course got the liquor stick, the beer sleeve. They've got bags, and they're rolling. They come out with new collabs all the time. It's not just the same old stuff that they're just like, oh yeah, just buy this. They're always thinking of new ideas. They've got ball markers, which you get a free ball marker when you do like a $50 order. So head on over to pinsandaces.com, promo code BDE, like Big Drive Energy, and you're getting 15% off your entire order plus free shipping. All right, let's tee it up.
Hello, friends. Welcome to this tradition unlike any.
Did somebody scream mashed potatoes?
That was mashed.
Winner's week. How you feeling?
I feel good. I feel bad about just my picks in general. I feel like they're fucking terrible. Well, okay, I was going to say let's talk about Corey Connors. Let's talk about the Nuggets first. The Nuggets, they're our team. They won their first ever national title, NBA championship.
NBA Larry
national
O'Brien
title's
trophy.
very college, isn't it? It's
Larry O.
Yeah, that was
having a Larry O.
Yeah, the big O.
The big Larry O.
You obviously you can tell you're at the game. You're in shambles. You don't look hot. You don't sound hot either, so I can assume you tied one on last night.
I did. I was in the streets of Denver, close to the shooting, but thankfully not in it.
Did somebody die?
I think I don't know if somebody died. I don't want to put out misinformation, but I know there's at least 10 people shot, I want to say.
That shit, I'm just going to be real. That stuff scares me.
It was like,
I saw people running over fireworks. That's like what 8-year-olds do. These fucking people are unhinged. Don't get me wrong. I love a good championship, obviously, and it's our city and our town. But what the fuck? I think it's funny. People hanging from light poles and shit, whatever, break a bone here or there. But if you can light yourself on fire, I feel like that's use your fucking brain. But everybody out there's got to be just blacked out of their mind. Aaron Gordon was one of the participants in the citywide what would you call it? Just
parade before a parade mob
Yeah.
scene. Yeah, dude, it was like you couldn't really walk on the entire, like anywhere in the streets. It was that full. People were going crazy, fireworks everywhere, cars honking. Even leaving the arena last night, like we're like 10, almost a Colfax, and cars are still honking. That part was awesome.
That is cool.
Just go Nuggets.
See, I think I'm getting old because I watched the game on the couch last night, and I probably could have done something more fun, but I overall was much more comfortable and happy at home on the couch than I would have been in that fucking mob.
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, I didn't love the downtown experience of it. We came back to the DNVR bar after, had a few, hung out here. It was an absolute disaster downstairs. Like the floor looked like my college floor, like after a Saturday night party. It was a disaster.
And that's another maybe like old man yelling at cloud take for me. But like I saw McGregor Square, people were just chucking shit, like trashing everything. And it's like, why do you feel the need to do this? Like, they were throwing like all these chairs in a pile. They were fucking, it's like, what are you doing? I don't get it. Like, that's just fucking sad. Like, it's stupid.
Yeah, it's kind of wild when it comes to like destruction.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point of destroying
Exactly.
everything? Like, you can have a good time without destroying everything.
Yeah. Like tipping over people's cars and shit. I didn't see any of that, but I'm just thinking of what I've seen before. And it's just like, why? It's not funny. It's not cool. I mean, it's cool to celebrate and get shit-faced, like have a blast, whatever, but don't fucking vandalize property. Like, is that an old man take?
It's not Mitchell's birthday, but his next one is going to be his 60th.
Yeah. I just got my AARP card in the mail after that take, but no, I mean, it's awesome. Like, we've been Nuggets fans since we were born, basically. Like, I remember you and I playing. We had a little Fisher Price hoop down in the basement, and we would play.
Oh, I fucking worked your ass.
No, I fucking disagree. I think your memory's fucked up.
I destroyed it.
No, you didn't. Dude, do you see how I'm built? I bodied you in the paint. Like,
yeah, and
I'm built like a propane tank.
I just fucking swatted you.
No, you didn't. We had those SpongeBob balls like that.
I was dunking on you like Aaron Gordon on Landry Shaman.
No, you're fucking out of your tree. But those balls that you'd get in like the big thing at Walmart with like that you could just pull out of like the side of the netting.
Yeah, those were SpongeBob one.
Yeah, that was our shit. And we would just watch Nuggets games all night. This was fucking 2004, 2003 maybe. So like we've been waiting for this for a hot minute, and I didn't know if it was ever going to happen, but here we are.
Yeah, and I've had a few tweets resurface. I just continue my winning ways.
Who resurfaced them?
So, I resurfaced one. No, I resurfaced one, but
Spencer's
then,
like, all credit to me.
Oh yeah, I wanted to make sure that shit.
I would like to just see how many tweets you've thrown out there, because like you could just tweet. Like you could tweet, oh, they're going to win the 2024 or 2025. And then nobody's ever going to dig it up if they don't win. You know what I mean? Like there's only a positive outcome for you when you tweet that shit.
No, like
I mean, you did say it was 2 championships.
Yeah,
so that was impressive.
The year is 2023. Like I was guessing 4 years into the future.
Yeah,
I didn't know where I'd be in 4 years. I just knew that there would be 2 titles from our childhood teams. But then the other one that got resurfaced that I randomly didn't even remember, and this one honestly wasn't me.
This is good podcasting.
This is really great podcasting right now.
Nice audio. What was it about the Nuggets, I assume?
Yeah, it was basically like.
Did you not retweet it because you retweeted all your other ones that you got right?
Dude, leave me alone for a second.
I'm just curious. I know.
Here. Only Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic are guaranteed Nuggets through the 2022-2023 season. Those 2, with a supporting cast drafted and developed by this organization, will win an NBA championship by that time. Remember this tweet. That was 7:25 a.m. on July 1st, 2019.
Okay. No, that's pretty good.
So, I mean, that's pretty lit right there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm impressed.
But we'll back off of, we just scheduled a tentative date to go get our championship tattoos. We've been slacking since a year from now, or basically for a year now, because we never went and got our Avs championship.
Well, that was
tattoos,
because
but-
you and your wife said you were getting tattoos, so you had to shut mine down until you did that. Have you done that yet?
No, that's not a thing now.
Okay.
It won't be a thing now. So
Okay.
we're just gonna send it on Monday. Have the Nuggets logo and the Avs logo on my arm. Can't wait.
Yeah,
just culmination of a great season, and having season tickets. We've had season tickets since we were 18, 19.
I was.
10 years.
I think I was still in high school when we bought our first season ticket package.
Yeah. So we've been in this for the long haul, and it's great to see. I never thought we'd see it either at some point. Like, we got so close a couple years, and then injuries, and now it's like, shit, is this team going to be a fucking dynasty?
Yeah.
How many championships do they win in the next 4 years?
I think we win one more. I don't want to get too ahead of myself here, because I feel like you say they win 3 in 5 years, and that's super hard to obtain. And like, I think it was partially too because I feel like the Avalanche looked the same way, and obviously injuries aside, because that's kind of what derailed the Avalanche. And obviously I'm not wishing anything bad on the Nuggets. It's just that hard. Like, we've been saying this for 3-4 years now. Staying healthy in any sport for any team is the biggest key to winning a championship. Like, you don't see teams just consistently decimated with injury that make a deep run missing key players like we had been with Jamal, Michael Porter, and then you see what happened to the Avs when everyone's like, run it back. And I legit thought we could run it back. And then, we have a few injuries and the goaltending isn't what we think it is, and we get bounced in the first round. So it's like, I don't want to get too optimistic. One is better than none for sure. I would like to see us get one more for Jamal and for Yoke, and we always feel like we're the little brother kind of. We have that mentality. So if we can get one more championship out of it, I feel like it'll kind of solidify our place in history a little bit.
Yeah, and when we're recording this, when you listen to it, it's probably won't be the case, but currently Colorado holds 2 of the 4 major sports championships, both NBA title, and we're still the Stanley Cup champions for at least another 3 hours, 4 hours.
Yeah, Vegas is going to win tonight.
Vegas is really good, and they've been clapping some Florida Panther cheeks. So that could be over, and we could not be Stanley Cup champions anymore. But now we'll just be NBA champions for another, hopefully at least like 365 days.
Yeah,
that's parade season.
I'm totally good with that.
Parade season, baby.
Yeah, so I feel good about where our Denver sports are. I was thinking, I was like, are the Nuggets like the toughest, my like toughest fan base to root for? I was like, no, I'm a Rockies fan. That shit will. I told my girlfriend, I was like, you don't even need to bet with me anything, but the day the Rockies win a World Series, I will get the Rockies logo tattooed on my ass cheek. I don't care if I'm 70. I'll do it. Like, it's not going to happen. I swear to God. Oh, can I just want to add this clause. I'm kind of backtracking here. If it's the same ownership, if the Monforts continue to own it, that's bullshit though. Like, this team with this ownership will never win a championship. Now, if they get sold to some stupid, crazy rich billionaire who doesn't give a shit about the payroll, any of that, then yeah, there's a good chance. But people still think pitching doesn't exist in Colorado. So we'll see if that ever happens. I really don't think it will. And we've said this about the Nuggets, but I don't think the Rockies will ever win a World Series.
No, I tend to agree with you there. 2007 was their chance. If they would have just gotten it done there, we could be happy for life. And now we're just going to be sad for life all summer long every year.
Oh, well, yeah.
Unless we have a parade.
Once basketball and everything's over, it's definitely ass. Like, golf, this is when I actually really lock into golf though. Yeah. Because it's only baseball, and then you have golf on 4 days of the week straight. Like, that's awesome. And it's like wall-to-wall coverage now with ESPN Plus. You can watch from pretty much 7 a.m., 8 a.m. till 3 or 4 in the afternoon. Like, whatever you're doing, you can keep an eye on it. I mean, this is the best time of year to focus on golf, because then we've discussed it, but they wised up, and end of the golf season, the Tour Championship is the week before the first week of the NFL season. So it just glides us right into football season, golf, the rest of the summer. This is a golf-focused summer.
This is a golf-focused summer, and now going to turn into a golf-focused podcast, because we're going to talk about the RBC Canadian Open. But before we do that, Father's Day is almost around the corner, you guys. And if you haven't gotten anything for your dad yet, look no further than the one, the only Manscaped. you have to keep, like, I was looking at my shit today and I was like, oh, probably like a couple days late on the manscaping. So I'm going to take care of that at some point here. But like they have the 4.0 Weed Whacker, which is just incredible. They have the whole performance package 4.0, which has got a cutting edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to advanced skin safe technology. So you can't cut yourself. You can do it in the shower. It has a light, which is like low key one of my favorite things. Like
that helps
when you're looking down there and it's just dark and you're in the shower. And I mean, you don't shower in the dark, but my shower is like relatively dark.
Yeah, it's pretty dark in there. Like the light definitely helps.
Yeah, and that like because I need to change the light. I've just been behind on changing the light in my bathroom because I've got 2 other lights. But they have a couple of different links on the Weed Whacker 2.0 as well. Or excuse me, that is on the Lawnmower 4.0. They've got different links so you can trim up. If you notice, I trimmed the side, like the sides right here.
Yeah, it looks decent.
Head over to the YouTube, check out my neatly trimmed sides from Manscaped. But yeah, they have different links where you can get it all trimmed up. I trim around my ears, and you can use the Weed Whacker 2.0 to trim inside your ears and your nose. We are getting to that age now where we need to do that. So we're trimming up with Manscaped. Head over to manscaped.com. Use the promo code DNVR, and you're getting 20% off your entire purchase. Get something for your dad, or get something for your husband or your boyfriend or your daddy that he needs for this Father's Day to take care of all his grooming needs. Manscaped.com. Promo code DNVR for 20% off. And all of our Arizona peeps out there, there are no better burritos in the world than Burrito Express. I got to meet the whole Burrito Express crew at our golf tournament a couple weeks ago. They're awesome dudes that make awesome burritos. We had a breakfast burrito spread for the entire group, and people were asking if there was more, even after they had one. I'll be honest, I'm normally not a big like breakfast guy, but a Burrito Express breakfast burrito is about as gas as it gets. I had the sausage, egg, and cheese. It was just phenomenal. And they're taking over Arizona essentially, but they are the best breakfast burrito and regular burrito in Arizona. There's so many different options. You can get red salsa, green salsa. They have steak, which I'm always a steak burrito guy when it comes to a lunch or dinner burrito. So make sure you're checking out Burrito Express. They have 6 locations all throughout Arizona, Tempe, Glendale, what have you. Check out Burrito Express, the best breakfast burritos and burritos in the world, down in AZ. All right, RBC Canadian Open. We've got some storylines. So we'll start with the low-hanging fruit. Nick Taylor, shouts to you, man. Shouts to you, my man. First Canadian to win in 69 nice years at the RBC Canadian Open. Thoughts on him winning, first of all, and then we'll get into some other storylines from the weekend.
I obviously was very impressed. I really thought Tommy Fleetwood was going to get it done because, surprisingly enough, you just realized this a couple weeks ago, Tommy Fleetwood has yet to win on the PGA Tour. He's gotten multiple wins on the DP World Tour. He's been on Ryder Cup, so I feel like his name is definitely much bigger than how he's performed on tour. Like you'd think he's got 2 or 3 wins by now. So I really thought he was going to get his first one. He was definitely the favorite going into the playoff. And for Nick Taylor just to ultimately make that 72 footer and come out victorious was unbelievable. I jumped out of my fucking chair and I know not that much of a reason to celebrate, but it was for our bet basically. And it just felt like cool to have somebody to distinctly root for. Like, generally speaking, sometimes you care, sometimes you don't. You just want to see a playoff. But for our guy to come out on top in the playoff was fucking awesome. And the fashion he did it in was crazy. We can get into the playoff a little bit because it ended up being a 4-hole playoff, I want to say.
Intense 4-hole playoff.
Yes,
like it was
very well. So the last hole at this the country club that they played at. Do you want to name check that?
Yeah.
In Toronto, is it some French name? I feel like. Anywho, it's a par 5 and it's gettable, but it's very weird. Like I think
Oakdale Golf and Country Club.
Okay, way off. I think like last year they played like St. Pierre Country Club or some shit. I could be totally wrong, but that's what I think of. So the 18th hole is a par 5, and I actually really liked like the green complex and a lot of it, other than the fact that so it's a 500-yard par 5, and there's guys hitting iron off the tee pretty much consistently. Like Nick Taylor was hitting hybrid, and he was getting kind of in trouble. Like it basically narrows down right at like the 250 out mark. So a lot of guys were hitting like 5 or 4 iron off the tee, and then like 5 wood into the green. So kind of a weird hole. The green was super fucking tough, and where they had that Sunday pin was way over on the right. So that was pretty cool.
Well, did you know that? So we had a couple of course records this week at Oakdale, both shot by guys on my card, Nick Taylor and
Eric
Cole, who fucking just vaulted himself up the leaderboard on Sunday. That was great. I hit all 3 top 10 picks and hit the winner. We had a 63 unit week, so
finally
RBC
we're
Canadian Open. Apparently, we're not great at picking tournaments in the United States, but get us up to Canada, and we're
in the black finally.
Yeah,
Good
we're
God,
up 52.3 units on the year, which is hype. I
trust the process.
make sure you're following us on Instagram. That's where you get those. We generally try to tweet them. But if you want to get those golf picks each week and win 50 units in 6 months, then head over to the Instagram at Big Drive Energy Pod. But did you know that 18th hole is actually a par 4 for members?
Is it really?
Played as a par 5 in the tournament.
Holy
shit.
But they must play a way shorter.
Yeah, there were 2 other par 5s for members that they played as 4s in the event.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, the 18th hole was definitely, it makes for good drama, and we've said this a million times, but it just reaffirms what we think. A finishing hole par 5 where you can make eagle is the best case scenario for the end of a golf tournament. Like it brings in all the different action. I mean, you could make 6 there, or you could make 3 there, and that is really like what you want to see. You don't want to see a tough, in LA Country Club, one of the toughest holes on the course is 18. It's a par 4. So that kind of sucks. Like, I just want a good par 5 to finish and let these guys let it fly. Like, let's get into some of the playoff, because they played 18 3 times.
Well, real quick, all golf courses should end on a par 5.
That's what
hammering
I
the
just said.
Table for that.
Yep. I can't tell if you're looking at me or you're listening or not.
I'm looking right at
But
you.
I definitely just said that. Yes, that is what we've said for forever. And it makes, like, this tournament just reaffirmed our take on that, because they played it 3 separate times. They played it completely different 3 times. Tommy Fleetwood. And it's funny because every once in a while, I feel like for the general watcher of golf that doesn't like watch every single week and really know that much golf, when somebody hits into the grandstands and they just get like a free drop, you're like, what the fuck? Like, how is that legal? But that is one of the advantages PGA Tour players or any tour player has, where they're playing with grandstands, because you get free relief. So even like a couple years ago, depending on where the flag is, there was guys at Torrey Pines on 18, that par 5, that were just shit pumping it into the grandstands long of the same at Austin Country Club, that drivable par 4. Everybody, like, nobody was sitting there because all the players were just lacing them into the grandstands knowing they were going to get a free drop. So Fleetwood definitely got bailed out a little bit there, but he didn't end up winning. So that was good karma for us, because I just had like this gut feeling that it was going to happen again after last week. Like a little PTSD from getting that loss last week from, was it Taylor Montgomery?
Denny McCarthy. Denny McCarthy. I will never forget that fucking name.
Yeah, no shit.
After he shoved it up my ass at 100 to 1.
Yeah, that was a very unfortunate circumstance, to say the least. But to come back this week and pick a plus 6,000 winner, and especially with, like you said, a Canadian hasn't won this in 69 years. So picking a Canadian, like, you got to think it's good mojo, but at the same time, good juju, whatever you want to call it. It feels like you're, if you're basing it off history, why pick any Canadians in this event? It just didn't make any sense, because Corey Connors, can I just go off for a second on him.
Go off.
He absolutely pissed down his leg on Sunday. He was 4 over through 5. I'm like, he's playing fucking bogey golf. I think he was 3 back of the lead going into Sunday. And so I wasn't watching at first. I was out doing some chores, whatever. And I'm like, scroll. I don't see his name. And so I keep scrolling and I'm scrolling and I keep fucking scrolling down. He's like tied for 28th. I'm like, what the fuck happened, dude? Like for a guy like him, and I guess that's why no Canadians have gotten it done, because there's just, you get yourself in position and it is very tough to win on the PGA Tour. Don't get me wrong, but this motherfucker can win in Texas. He just can't win in Canada. So thankfully Nick Taylor got it done for us. Obviously, well, let's talk about real quick. There's a few shots in the playoff that were, kind of like you thought it was going to swing one way and it didn't really end up going that way. But Tommy Fleetwood hit a few super fucking loose ones.
Dude, was that the first hole of the playoff? Or no,
that he missed it.
The first hole of the playoff, he looked like he was going to win, and it ended up not. I think it was the second hole they went back to.
No, it was the first hole where it looked like Nick Taylor was going to win.
Yeah,
because he had like 5 feet, and Tommy Fleetwood buried that 12-footer to push it. But then it was the second time they went out. Fleetwood, and that's a shitty thing too, is hitting an iron off the tee is not easy, but everyone's like, you miss fucking fairway with an iron. What kind of chop are you? So Fleetwood misses the fairway with an iron. Then he lays up into the fucking, blows it way right. Hit the ball's way below his feet. Like, he was pretty lucky to make par. I think he had like 50, 60 feet for birdie, or even longer than that. He was way across on the other side of his spine. It actually hit a really good putt, almost fucking went in, but he definitely looked the most like inconsistent in the playoff. Nick Taylor seemed like he had it a little bit more dialed in. But Tommy Fleetwood hit some loose ones. Even then, Nick Taylor on the hole he won it on, he hit it into the first cut and it fucking buried. Like it went into it looked like a fresh divot, sitting way below the surface. You could only see like the top half of the ball.
Yeah, the ball had ended up rolling backwards. Like it rolled through. They showed the slow-mo of it, and then it came backwards into like that divot. Dude, that rough was fucking U.S. Open rough. Which one of the commentators was like, it slipped his mind for a minute on Thursday. He goes, they could host a U.S. Open here. And it's like, wait, we're in fucking Canada here.
Ontario. Yeah. So that was actually hilarious. They had a pretty good laugh about that. But yeah, the playoff was super electric. I also thought Nick Taylor chipped in on the par 3 to get in for birdie when Fleetwood had a pretty decent look. Fleetwood had multiple chances to close it out. At least 2, and he just didn't get the job done. And then Nick buries that 72-footer on the 4th playoff hole and fucking
I audibly screamed. I was going to record a video of myself celebrating because
I can't believe you didn't. Holy shit.
At that point it seemed like it was a kind of a foregone conclusion. But I wasn't going to set up my camera until he putted that one up and lagged it, and then Fleetwood was going to miss, and then
you'll never make that mistake again.
No, I'll just like record myself from the second they start the 18th hole. Just in case.
You can always cut it, but you can't fucking go back and record it.
No, but it was funny because I literally, like I said, I audibly screamed. Like
did I.
It was like a holy shit.
I like put my arms up in the air like I was some sort of fucking child. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like you just don't see like a 72-footer is like a 1% make percentage on the PGA Tour. So 1 in every 100 is made. And then on top of it, you're literally in a playoff with a putt to win the tournament. Like that shit just doesn't happen. So the fact that it did, what'd you look up? What's the probability on a 72-footer?
Well, so the 72-foot putt is the longest made in his career and the longest made, I believe, in history.
Like in a playoff?
To win a tournament.
Okay. Yeah. No, I could totally see that. I mean, and that was the crazy thing about 18 is that green was so huge. Like you could hit the green and still feel like you were out of position just because it was so massive. But then, okay, so obviously we got to touch on this too. Adam Hadwin getting absolutely fucking rocked buried by the security guard with a bottle of champagne in his hand. I didn't think it was real. Like, everybody started tweeting about it, and I was like, no way. Like, how? Just and that goes to show you, we've talked about this. Communication at these events is so fucking bad. Like, this dude's literally standing on the edge of the green with a bottle of champagne in his hands with a bunch of other guys, Canadian PGA Tour players, Corey Connors, Mike Weir. Was there another dude?
There was other dudes there,
Hadwin,
but
Connors,
those dudes
Weir.
were cheering for Fleetwood.
Yeah. There was
like Lowry and
Hatton. Yep. And Hatton almost fucking came back. Hatton does that. Like, I feel like he's more dangerous coming from 7-8 behind than he is with the lead. When he has the lead, I feel like he plays a little scared, which is completely fair. I get it. But he almost pulled the rug out from under us too. But how can you have Adam Hadwin standing on the edge of the green, like, pretty fucking clear he has the credentials to be there with a bottle of champagne in his hands? Like, do you think any random fan's gonna go buy a bottle of champagne? No, this is like reserved for these guys. So he runs out, and the security guard thinks he's just fucking random spectator. Like, how do they get, like, how do the security guards not know? And I guess you'd rather be safe than sorry, like, fucking.
Yeah, but you didn't have to fucking truck the guy.
Yeah,
like,
you
could have just like grabbed him or like been like, "Hey, what are you doing?"
Yeah.
But that's what's funny about it is the way that was set up on the 18th hole at RBC was everybody was in the grandstands, which were like 20 feet above the ground.
Yeah.
So what did somebody he thought somebody jumped 20 feet off the grandstand?
Parkour.
Yeah.
Just fucking
parkour with a bottle of champagne.
Yeah, rumble down the hill and fucking run on the green.
It does, I know the Canadian people just get, they have the stereotype of being nice, which we had blast when we went to fucking.
Yeah, they were very generous with us.
Where did we go?
Vancouver.
We had a blast, and everybody we met there was nice, and I think I got COVID from one of their darts, but the overall idea that they were all out watching like Nick Taylor do that was so cool to me. Like, you don't see that a lot. You see that in live events, I guess, or
PGA Tour events that live players. Yeah.
But you don't see that a ton in the sport in general. Like, granted, these guys are all friends, but like that meant more to all the golfers growing up in Canada and being able to finally win it, since any of those dudes have ever been alive. I don't think Mike Weir's quite 69 years old. So
no, he's like 52, 53.
But yeah, just to see the camaraderie they all had and cheering for him. And even on the other side, unfortunately Fleetwood lost, but he had Tyrrell Hatton there and Shane Lowry cheering for him. And just a cool scene for all the players. And of course, for a Canadian to win the Canadian Open, it was just big time. And Nick Taylor's kind of been on the cusp of it. Also cool for RBC hosting the Canadian Open and having one of their guys, Nick Taylor, with the RBC logo on his shirt, end up winning it as well.
Yeah, no, it was super cool. And Nick Taylor, wasn't he the one that lost? He almost won the Waste Management this year.
Yes. Yep. He was.
That's right where there. I remember him because his name really hasn't been at the top of too many leaderboards. But then I looked. That's what's crazy is like some of these guys are so low key. I was like, he's probably had like an all right year. He's made like $6.5 million. And I know the money's bigger now on the PGA Tour, so you can play a little worse and still make very good money. But anybody that makes $6.5 million playing some pretty fucking good golf. So I just feel like he's maybe now getting the shine that he deserves. But see, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that's a cultural thing that America doesn't have. And maybe so, like, I guess it depends on the event. And maybe I'm just picky and choosy with where I'm talking about, because there's been plenty of guys waiting on next to the green, like American players is what I'm saying. Like, I just don't feel like you see as many American players hanging around for their buddies as like, but I guess when, it's different when there's 5 Canadian guys on tour and there's maybe 5 English dudes playing in the event, or, British dudes, whatever. Maybe that brings their camaraderie a little bit closer because they feel like they kind of have to stick together. And since the PGA Tour is 99%, not 99%, but basically all American, maybe it's a little bit of a different thing. I think it is very cool when you see guys like that support system show up like that. And like, just spitballing here, how cool would it be to see like fucking Team Canada in like just an event, like with the Live and PGA Tour, like if they're making teams, just get an all Canadian team and like they're like have Molson buy it or some shit, or you know what I mean, some fucking super hardcore Canadian company, and just have an all Canada team, and then you can go all English, kind of like they didn't live with like the Majestics. Those guys are all English. The Rippers all Australian.
Ripper GC, baby.
I do kind of like that, because when you are with fellow countrymen, I think it gives you a little bit more of a team value, you know what I mean? Not a guy from Australia, a guy from Britain, a guy from America, a guy from South Africa. Like, I feel like when you're all from the same place, you can all kind of relate on a different level. So I think that's a cool aspect of it. And Team Canada's tough. I mean, Corey Connors, Adam Hadwin, Nick Taylor, it kind of falls off after that. Mike Weirs, bleh. I think Graham DeLette's never playing professional golf again. He hurt his wrist a while back. He was actually a very fun watch, but there's a few really good Canadians, and I think they're only grooming more Canadians, not in a weird way, like more young.
Manscaped grooming them?
Yes, exactly. There's more young Canadians coming up through the ranks that are playing very good golf. So I think we're going to see, and like having PJ Tour Canada, I think is such a big thing. Like there's that tour for those guys to be able to go play at a young age and really get into it. So I just like it for Canada overall, and in the history of Canada not being super clutch besides like Jamal Murray. I like that they got the dub this week. I think that's pretty fucking cool. And they're very patriotic people. Like, oh, can we talk about this real quick? I know we keep going. But they had, what was it called? They called it the hockey rink? The rink. Yeah. That was cool. So fucking cool. I love that concept.
Very cool that they're starting to bring, almost every course now has got like a hole.
That signature par 3.
Yeah, and they're bringing that to life a little bit more, but they were like hitting the boards. That was really cool.
They sang "Oh Canada" to any Canadian player that came up, which was a little bit much, but still pretty cool. Like all super patriotic dudes, all wearing like hockey sweaters, just very on brand. They're all just shit faced, probably. Like Canadians get after it. They like to drink.
Yeah, I'm going to out myself a little bit, but I always get annoyed when the Avs play a Canadian team, because then they have to sing the Canadian national anthem, and it just takes like an extra 5 minutes.
No, it does take a little while.
I'm not a big fan.
But their national anthem's a lot quicker than ours.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Is O Canada their national anthem?
Yeah.
There's two separate things that we're talking about.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
They sung the national anthem to the players.
Correct.
Got it.
Yeah, before they so the guys would wait, like they were like taking off their hats, like putting their hat over their chest and shit. Like these guys would sing to him, and then after they sang to him, he'd just toss his hat on and go hit a shot.
That's dope. I love that.
Yeah.
And we of course won. If I haven't mentioned this before on this podcast, 60-1 odds, and we do all our betting with the DraftKings Sportsbook. As of us recording this, the Stanley Cup Finals are tonight, and you can get into the action with DraftKings Sportsbook. Hockey playoffs are hopefully not over, but the Golden Knights are minus 190 on the money line tonight against the Panthers. We'll see.
That's moved.
The Panthers have had this weird way of just fighting their way all the way to the kind of like the Miami.
I was just gonna say they said that same thing about the Heat. So,
but they are plus 160 on the money line. You can get them plus a puck and a half at minus 170. So I think it's going to be a close game, even though Vegas has blown out a few of these Stanley Cup games. But all you need to do is sign up for the DraftKings Sportsbook. Use the promo code DNVR when you're signing up, and you can make a $5 bet and score $200 in bonus bets instantly. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use that code DNVR, and get yourself $200 in bonus bets when you make a $5 bet. You can use those bonus bets to bet on golf. We're going to give you our picks here for the 2023 U.S. Open coming up. But if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Massachusetts, call 1-800-327-5050 or visit gamblinghelpline.ma.org. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Kansas, call 1-800-522-4700 on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. 21 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Reading hungover is hard. Eligibility restrictions do apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com or sportsbook.draftkings.com/hockey terms. This is a perfect time to get signed up because like I said, big golf weekend. If you get $200 in bonus bets, you can toss those all in the U.S. Open. And it just makes it super fun to have a bunch of guys. We pick our 3 guys that we bet on and root for. But if you got a bunch of bonus bets, might as well use them and try to make some money for the U.S. Open, especially since everybody's going to be watching, which is dope. And we also have to tell you guys about Colorado Golf. So Colorado Golf, if you guys are playing in tournaments, speaking of tournaments, we have one coming up. If you're in the Denver area, DNVR Midsummer Classic. We just talked with the Pins and Aces guys. Everybody's going to be getting a limited edition Pins and Aces X DNVR golf towel. We'll have exclusive merch for sale at Broken Tee. We're really excited. It's going to be a blast. Breckenridge Brewery will be out there giving out free beers, and you can never say no to free beers. But coloradogolf.org, if you need a handicap and you want to play in tournaments, Colorado Golf is, if you're in the state of Colorado, is the place to go. Use that promo code DNVR5 when you sign up, and it'll save you $5 off of your CGA membership, which not only gets you worldwide access to score posting, your official USGA handicap, but it gets you discounts and the opportunity to play in member play days, in the 2-man net series.
We'll be at a few of those member play days.
Yeah, we'll be at a member play day in maybe like a couple weeks. I got to check those dates again.
Yeah, you do.
No show that shit. But no, we've got they've got member play days. You can play Aspen Glen, which is maybe my favorite course in the entire state. The Pinery, Club at Ravenna, and more. You gain exclusive access with offers and discounts from national companies as well, like Imperial Golf Tech and the PGA Superstore. So once again, that's DNVR5 to sign up for your Colorado Golf membership at coloradogolf.org. All right, you want to discuss your new life venture here? Have we talked about this on the pod at all?
No, I don't think so.
Let's open mic it. I'll hand it over to you.
So, I mean, I'm planning on moving to New Jersey at the end of August, kind of beginning of September. I don't have exact dates. Obviously, that's where my girlfriend lives. If you live under a rock and don't listen to this podcast, but
if you do listen to this podcast, give us a rating on whatever you're listening to.
Yeah, give us 5 stars or 0. It still helps. But I'll be out in New Jersey, and I am going to be a Pins and Aces sales rep for the entire Northeast. So I'm going to cover like even Eastern Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island. It's going to be a lot, man. But I'm super excited because it's really going to get me into the golf culture out there, and I'm going to probably be able to play some really good golf. So I'm stoked about that.
Can I tell you, I'm kind of fucking jealous.
Are you?
I'm a little peanut butter and jealous.
Yeah, and it actually is pretty cool because I am the first Pins and Aces only rep. Like they have a bunch of like independent reps that rep multiple different companies, but I'm going to kind of be a guinea pig for them where I'm just going to work for Pins and Aces. So I am going to basically, there's a lot of logistics to work out around like already having leads and things like that and all of that. But basically it gives me an opportunity to explore the entire Northeast, create relationships with a bunch of cool golf pros and meet different people and just spread Pins and Aces up into the Northeast. Like, I feel like that is kind of the one spot in America where Pins and Aces hasn't really touched, because you get Western America, like everybody out here knows about Pins and Aces. They're very prominent and they just haven't seen that growth into the Northeast. I feel like, it's very like, it may be like a Colorado stigma, not necessarily to say that, but like it is a very different place than Colorado. So I think that once I get out there and get the product in front of all the pros, I think they're going to love it. So I'm just super fucking stoked for that. Like, and it also brings into play possibly like, I might give a few lessons here and there just to friends. Like, I'm not going to advertise lessons or anything. So I may think about getting my AM status back and being able to play in some amateur shit, which you really can't do if you want to stay PGA. But I could probably turn back to an AM technically if I wanted to and play in amateur stuff. So I don't really know. I do kind of want to play in some other professional stuff because a lot of the New Jersey based stuff is going to be really close to where I'm going to be living. So I'd like to qualify for the New Jersey Open, and there's a Long Island Open. There's all these little state opens that are pretty fucking close. So it's just going to be really cool. I'm excited for a new experience, and this does not really change much of what we do because obviously this podcast is sponsored by Pins and Aces. So I'm still going to be able to do the podcast. I'm going to have time for that. And then the summer, surprisingly enough, is somewhat of a slow time for like sales reps in the golf industry because you're just in the thick of it. You know what I mean? You're not really
Into the thick of it.
Oh, I just lost my voice. That probably broke Marissa's eardrums. I hit an octave that I didn't think I was capable of. But yeah, I should have plenty of time in the summer to still be back in Denver. And my girlfriend and I are actually planning on buying a place here in Denver too and hanging on to it along with a place in New Jersey. So I'll have a place that's closer here when I need to be here. And I just have the freedom to kind of do my own thing. Like I'm kind of like not making my own rules because dear God, that would be fucking bad news for me.
Yeah,
but
nobody needs to let you do that.
Yeah. But within reason, like I can kind of work on my own time. I can set my own schedule. There's going to be certain quotas, things like that, but I can fucking sell ice cubes to Eskimos. Like, I feel like I'm built for sales.
You are a good salesman. So kind of just, you don't have to get too deep into it, but just go into, for the people that don't know what being a sales rep is. So basically your basic job.
Yeah. So you're just basically the middleman between a golf company, an apparel company in this case, and a golf course. So right now, Pins and Aces is not. That's the other thing too that I discussed with Justin Mills, who's their head. He is their Colorado, Utah rep, but now he's getting to the point where he's so fucking busy that he's like ahead. He's above all other reps and kind of oversees everyone. But basically, you are the middleman that sells the merchandise to the buyer, which is the golf course. And this is where I was going. So Pins and Aces and a lot of other golf companies are basically mostly direct to consumer, because that obviously, not obviously, but if you know business, direct to consumer is generally a wider margin because you're selling things at retail and there's no, you're taking out the middleman. But a lot of the time, a middleman can be a great catalyst in selling and creating new revenue. This isn't a business podcast, this is a golf podcast, but so I'm basically going to be going to golf courses, showing them the material, showing them the different things that Pins and Aces offers, and then putting in the purchase orders, kind of handling the transaction more or less and making sure they get everything. I don't know if I'm going to be doing any staging, like it sounds like Pins and Aces just got into a lot of all PJ Superstores and Golf Galaxy, but only with merchandise. So I don't know. There's a lot of really cool like ideas. I couldn't sleep last night just thinking all the ideas. Like, do you know what I want to think of, or what I want to do? And this could be a home run if it hits, is find the dude who runs Zin's merchandising and get Zin to do a collab with Pins and Aces.
If you make that happen, bro, I will.
Because it'll make me.
I will crown you.
Yeah. Just two things that I love dearly. Nicotine and Pins and Aces. And
Zins and Aces.
Oh, fuck.
Nick, you're listening. Nicky boy.
We're just spitballing here.
Mertz.
No, I like that.
Zins and Aces.
But yeah, so that's kind of the story there, and I'm super stoked for it. Because, and this sounds corny, but the product kind of sells itself. Like they put out so much cool shit that like I feel like just getting it in front of more people's faces, and that's kind of the approach I'm going to take. Like I'm not going to upsell anybody on anything. That's how I was as a pro. Like, and this is going to be more, it's definitely going to be incentivized to sell, and I'm going to be making commission. So it's going to be a little different, but at the same time, like I'm not going to sell somebody something they don't want, but they make so much cool stuff that it's just easy once you get it in front of people's eyes for them to be like, oh damn, like this is badass. I think our membership will love this. And the custom beer sleeves and they can even do laser etching on the back of liquor sticks. So like if you want to order 50, or I think minimum is maybe 100 on liquor sticks, but if you order 100 liquor sticks, you can get laser etching of your company or whatever on the back of them, which pretty fucking cool. So they just do a lot of very cool customizable stuff. And I'm just super stoked to, I've never done something like this, but I think it's a great area for me to get into because I enjoy selling. I enjoy making relationships and creating those things. And I love pins and aces. So I think it's just going to be a great option for me. And it leaves the door open for me to be able to come back and do this shit. Like I'm not going to be a club pro somewhere, so I'm not tied down all summer to this crazy stringent schedule. I'll kind of be able to do my own thing within reason. So I'm fucking stoked. Like basically pins and aces is like my entire professional life now because we're either here talking about pins and aces or I'm going to be out there talking about pins and aces.
Yeah, dude. Well, the one thing I'm really jealous of is you getting to like go to the clubhouses and the old school like East Coast shit.
Yeah.
That part's going to be dope. You're definitely going to have to like, dude, we should do we can do like a TikTok series on this or like, we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
But basically like visiting all these different courses and different clubhouses and rating
That's a great idea.
Or stuff like that when you go and visit with these pros.
And here's another idea I thought of, which Pins and Aces hasn't really touched on yet, but doing like something with poker, like a poker and golf tournament in the same day. Cause like pins, like it's the spade is in the logo. So I feel like I'm going to hammer Atlantic City, the tables and the golf courses.
Yeah.
But how cool would that be? Like,
do you need a +1 for that?
Probably. I mean, it wouldn't hurt, I wouldn't call you a model, but maybe you can wear some of the gear. And
hey, check out Pins and Aces post today.
Maybe we can like organically plug you in where, you like walk into the pro shop when I'm pitching one of the pros and be like, dude, your Pins and Aces, they're so huge. Like I love their shit. Isn't that kind of smart?
And then they'll be like, you're not a member here, so get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Who is this guy?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that's going to be the one uphill battle I face is it's a lot of country club golf out on the East Coast in the Northeast. So we'll kind of see the response to Pins and Aces, because I would say Pins and Aces attracts more to, and not necessarily one way or the other, but from my perspective, it leans more towards a public course demographic, like not snooty, uppity, like stuffy people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they are coming out with some more classic designs too. They're kind of appealing to almost everybody. So it'll be interesting. It's all going to be a learning experience for me. So I'm just super stoked about it. And so we'll continue to talk about it on the pod. Like, when I'm out there, we can discuss what country clubs I've been at, what the setup looks like, and what golf courses I've been to. And I'm definitely going to sneak some fucking golf in there. I'll be like, hey man, you want to get out and play? And, gives them a reason to get out. Cause I know when we were club pros, any reason to get out, unless you don't like the guy, there's definitely you got to like the guy.
You really, for me, relationship building when I was a pro and doing the buying is like the biggest thing. Like if a guy comes in, he wants to talk about, you got to get those like social cues where you see like, oh, they have like a Boston Red Sox hat.
Oh, absolutely.
Or this or that, like get those things and don't even talk about the product for the first half of the time.
Yeah.
You guys are your friend. And
you just kind of like slip it in the back door.
This and this.
Yeah, exactly. So that if I'm built to do one thing, it's talk. So
yeah.
And I'm going to have a lot of windshield time. So when I get out of that car, I'm going to be ready to fucking let it rip.
I love it. I love
so
that.
I'm,
dude, congrats. That's fucking dope. And I'm excited for you.
Thank you, man.
And I'm excited for just what that means for, the podcast and the content and all that moving forward.
Well,
like,
and even Justin talked about like doing tournaments out there, which you could obviously be included in. And,
yeah, buddy.
Just do there's so many things we can do with it. Like,
yeah,
it's only up from here. You know what I mean? So if you're not on board, fucking hop on.
Yeah, fucking trains leaving the station.
Exactly. It's only going up. So I'm fucking stoked. It's going to be dope. Thank you.
I am also stoked for this US Open.
I'm very stoked.
LA Country Club, which the interesting part about this is when we're handicapping it, we're not fucking golf handicappers, but that's the one way to put it. When you look at who to pick, so it's a par 70 with 5 par 3s, which is cool. Like
5 3s, 3 5s.
Yep. 5 3s and 3 5s. So at least there's not the 2 par 5. That shit's so lame.
Yeah.
Give us all the par 5s.
And they open with a par 5 too.
Oh, I love that.
So I guess the fairway's relatively narrow, but it's 580 like downhill. And so they say, I mean, with how firm it's going to be, 580 is going to be fucking 470, 480 at your typical wet track. So, I mean, it sounds very gettable right off the bat. So there's going to be some fireworks on number one. But then I think is it 2 5s on the front and 1 on the back?
I believe so, yes. And then the par 3 11th has gotten a lot of shine, 290-yard hole.
Yep.
Okay, do you think it, like, I've heard some people say it's like ridiculous. Do you think it's ridiculous, or do you think it's just a good golf hole?
For those guys, it's not that ridiculous because you're actually making them like your typical average golfer. Even if a hole's 190 yards, whatever, that's long for your average golfer. So this is just long for the average PGA Tour pro. Like this is the equivalent of your 20 handicap golfer having to hit a hybrid from 190. You know, these guys, and it plays downhill. It's going to be firm, and it looks like it filters. There's a bunker front right, so it looks like everything kind of filters front left to back right. But overall, I don't think it's insane. I mean, there's still going to be guys. I bet Wyndham Clark hits like 6 iron there, 5 iron. With how firm it's going to be, maybe that's a stretch. I bet he hits like 4 iron, 3 iron.
Yeah, well, I did see a video of one of the fairways, and it was like insane. You just the guy dropped a ball on the left edge of the fairway, and it rolled
took off
all the way off to almost the right edge.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of, as a U.S. Open should be, a lot of emphasis on keeping the ball in play off the tee. The rough is crazy. U.S. Open rough. The week we finally get to fucking say it.
Yeah.
With with actually having it there and having the U.S. Open being played there. But
can you imagine the amount of water that they wasted in LA fucking watering that golf course to make this US Open happen?
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, the people in Beverly Hills are drinking out of fucking...
Dude, I actually heard Kim Kardashian, like, I guess they have like a water limit. I don't know if Marissa's heard about this. Probably not. I don't know where I heard it from, but Kim Kardashian, like they put a water restriction on everybody because the water's so scarce. She used like 4 or 5 times the limit of what she was supposed to use. Like she just doesn't give a fuck. And that's why I'm not going to go there, but fucking all these celebrities preaching climate bullshit. And then nobody really actually, none of them care. Yeah, like they just have a soapbox to fucking get on. So yeah. LA, I'm not gonna lie, not my favorite place in the world. Like I could do without LA. I'm excited for this tournament, and it really does look like a cool venue, but it's just gonna be so California bullshit. Like besides Max Homa, you know, everybody knows he's the quintessential California kid, but everything else, like they're probably gonna do some Rodeo Drive bullshit. They're gonna do, you know, all the typical LA, we're better than you California shit, and it's just like not for me.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, I feel you. So it's the same designer as Riviera
and Bel Air Country Club.
Yep,
George Thomas
Jr. And redesigned in 2009, 2010. What's interesting?
Gil
about
Hanse
this,
redesign, and Gil Hanse is fucking good. I like his designs.
What's interesting about this is like there's no real professional resumes from this golf course. Not a lot of guys have played this golf course.
Yeah.
And you know, the last professional tournament there was like 1940 or something. Like they used to have the LA Open and things like that way back in the day before, of course, the redesign. But it's always fun when you can't really have a horse for this course. You know, it's just like who's playing the best golf right now, who just looks like they, you know, are in the mode to win a fucking US Open, because this is a big deal. And last year, you know, Matt Fitzpatrick won. I don't think there's any little nuggets that we're missing this year.
I was going to say, are we missing? Did somebody win a USAM here we don't know about?
There was an amateur tournament here a couple of years, or maybe like 10 years ago. So maybe I'll have to dig that up and I can do a last minute switch on my picks. But weather forecast looks like it's going to be good. There is a chance of rain Thursday, Friday, but you know, California, unfortunately, always pretty good weather. So in the, you know, mid 70s to low 80s.
Yeah, I figured it would be hotter out there by now. Like, I actually think the weather is going to benefit the players, because if it was 85, 90, that course looks like it would borderline be impossible, because everything's just a marble countertop. You can't stop the ball anywhere. And I will mention too, so you mentioned the 11th hole, the 15th hole is a par 3. They're going to play it as short as 92 yards. So I just want to say this, that validates my hole-in-ones on par 3 courses.
Oh, okay. I see your fucking... I see what you're trying to do there.
Both of them were like 110 yards. That's not a fucking 65-yard flip pitch shot. That's a full wedge. If they're playing it at the U.S. Open, it's good enough for me.
Well, what is the one hole at Pebble? That's like, isn't that always like 90 yards?
Yeah, they usually play it right around 100. And then there's another one at, what course is it? Not Bellerive. The ones with the wicker mesh. Is it Baltusrol maybe? Marion. It's Marion. Good God. Marion in Pennsylvania. They had like 10 years ago, they played a US Open there, and they had a great short par 3 that I remember somebody made an ace on. And I just love a good par 3. Like, a good par 3, a good short par 3. Like, I think it's so much fun because you can make the hole tough without making it long. So you kind of have both sides of that sword there, where you have a 290 yard par 3 and then you have a 92 yard par 3. So I'm actually more stoked. What do you are more excited to watch, the short one or the long one?
Well, it will be fun if it's like the short ones where they're just throwing like darts at it the whole time.
Yeah.
But I will say I am intrigued by a 290 yard par 3, especially for some of the guys that don't hit it as far. Like what they're going to be hitting, some of these AMs or some of the guys that, just like qualified to get in it this week. We've got a dude that qualified that chips one-handed. Fucking kind of wild.
That is, well, Fitzpatrick chips cross-handed still.
Well, yeah, but dude, can you imagine like in an actual professional event taking one hand off the fucking club and swinging it?
Yeah, I mean, if you feel like you're better doing it than two-handed, which is wild, but
and it's his lower hand too.
That's weird. Yeah,
to me.
It's usually the lead hand that you would, if you're chipping one-handed, you would want to go lefty. Like you feel like you just get that fucking wrist flip in there, and you're hitting in the forehead, sculling it, chunking it. So yeah, that is pretty wild. But there's a lot of ways to skin a cat. So, dude, I guarantee you they'll get him on TV regardless. Just get a one-handed chip just for everybody to be like, that'll be hot in the streets in golf next week. They're like, oh, I'm going to chip one-handed. I actually gave one of our former members a lesson, and he chipped one-handed, and because he had such bad yips with his right hand.
God, when when in golf, when you're in a fucking bad spot, when something like that goes down, you gotta take a hand off the club.
Exactly, and like also, I mean, at the end of the day, he was like, do you think I should just stick with one-handed? And I'm like, I do, because it's just that yippy right wrist that gets into it. That so many, I feel like you play enough golf and you go through the yips at one point or another, it just sticks longer for some people. For that dude, it definitely had stuck. So it was an interesting lesson to say the least. But I am looking forward to that short par 3, that 92 yarder. I think it plays typically like 120. So that's a good distance. Like that's a full sand wedge, gap wedge, depending on what you hit. But playing it as short as 92 is going to be fucking cool. So I'm very excited for that. There is 5 par 4s on this course that measure 500 yards, or there's one that's 493, so basically 500, and the rest are 500 plus in that cluster. So it's definitely not a short course by any means, but it'll just be interesting because if it's as firm as a typical US Open is, people are going to look at a 500 yard par 4, and some of these guys might have wedge in. You know what I mean? That a number on the scorecard means nothing anymore, especially in professional golf. So It is going to be interesting though, because it's not a short course for a par 70. It's 75-ish 100 yards. So it's probably going to favor a little bit of a longer hitter, but I feel like with how firm any US Open is and with the amount of undulation, because it looks like you're kind of typical LA, like on the side of a hill type of golf course. So I feel like keeping it below the hole wherever you can is going to be ideal. Like par is always going to be a good score at US Open, which we love. Don't know about the general public, but keeping it below the hole is going to be essential this week, just like any other US Open. And just being in control of your golf ball, controlling the spin. Like it truly is probably the toughest test that is played every single year. The Open Championship, is more of a weather thing. The PGA's meh. And the Masters is Augusta. So the US Open is the true challenging test of the year. And we personally love it. I at least I do. I know you like it too.
Oh yeah. There's nothing like, I think we've talked about this in a few tournaments, and this past weekend, guys at 17 under, but there's nothing like a tournament that guys can go into a weekend. I mean, shit, Nick Taylor won the event being 2 over. I literally looked at the score. I almost took him. So on the PGA Tour app, you can favorite guys.
Yeah.
So they go to the top. and I almost unfavorited him because of how bad he was.
He was tied
Thursday.
for last place. I think he was
like 2 or 3 over.
Oh, did
And
we
then
see what Michael Block shot this week?
I don't care.
He wasn't discussed. I just want to give it some shine.
But do you want to get into your picks? Do you want me to start with my picks since I'm so hot? Like, don't get fucking close to me right now unless you got oven mitts on.
I just want to.
I am cooking.
Yeah, you go first. Let's switch it up. I need to find Michael Block real quick.
Okay.
Oh, he shot +2 and missed the cut, but still +2, a lot more respectable than a fucking 83-75.
Yeah, 100%. And
he's getting there.
All right. He's peaking. All right. My picks for the 2023 U.S. Open at Los Angeles Country Club. Listen close, because going back to the PGA Championship, I hit a winner, then I had a bad week, then I had a guy in the playoff at 100-1, and then last week I hit another winner. So I'm on a month absolute heater right now in the golf picking world. It's about time somebody fucking calls me and has me on their betting show, their daily golf betting show. But
facts.
My first pick is Brooks Koepka, and just couldn't not pick him here. He just major hunter. I could go through all the fucking cliches, but just bet Brooks Koepka this week. If you go onto the DraftKings Sportsbook app, they are boosting a winner +300. So he is boosted up to 1,400, and then to top 10, he is +120. Another guy, I wore this hoodie in honor of him today. Once again, if you're not on the YouTube, whoa, the camera gets me back.
There you go.
Ripper GC, Cam Smith, our cousin Cam. He is +2,000 to win the event, or 2,500, to win the event, +240 to top 10. And then I kind of went with like the mid. I didn't go with the crazy Rahm +500 and Scheffler +600, whatever nonsense they were throwing out there.
You getting some value?
Yeah, I went a little mid-level, and then you went with some pretty serious value, which I love too. But my third guy is Xander Schauffele. I don't.
He's a California kid.
Yeah, but I don't like that I picked this.
He is due for a major.
He's gonna win a major at some point.
Yes.
And is it this week?
Could be.
He played pretty well a couple weeks ago. So Xander Schauffele is +1,800 to win the event and +190 to top 10. So there you go. Brooks Koepka, Cam Smith, Xander Schauffele.
I like that.
From the man.
Real quick, other fun fact on LA Country Club before I drop my picks. The Playboy Mansion's on the 14th, just behind the 14th green. So, and apparently Hugh Hefner tried for years and years to become a member of LA Country Club. They never let him. So they definitely think pretty highly of themselves if they don't let Hugh Hefner.
Why would you not? Like, I mean, there's people that just have like fuck you lives and fuck you money, and I would think Hef would be one of them, right?
He does fuck you a lot. He does say that a lot. Ayo, sound the alarms. But no, I could just see it from a attention perspective. Like, they don't want that shit. It's probably a bunch of stuck up. I see this. So this course was built in like the 1920s. So I could see this being a very old money golf course with a lot of like, people that you probably don't know about that are in LA that are have more money than God. So I could see this being the kind of place that just doesn't want that kind of attraction. But maybe if they do an aerial shot, we'll be able to see the Playboy Mansion. And also apparently somebody else that lives on the golf course has like a fucking full-on zoo in their backyard. So you can like regularly hear monkeys screeching in their backyard.
What?
Like, yeah, it's a full
fucking awesome.
Yeah. So it's going to be, if a monkey escapes, that'd be fire. Like just running across one of the fairways. I'd enjoy that. Add a little pizzazz. Okay. So for my picks, this is one that I said I was going to do at the beginning of the year. And he hasn't played as good a golf lately, but I'm still rolling with it. Max Homa +3,000 to win, +330 top 10. It's just, it feels almost a little too good to be true for him. So I don't know if it's going to happen. And I am just shitty at betting. So I assume he's not going to win, but I could be wrong.
He's a guy that you just have to take this week.
Yeah, exactly. It's Brooks. It feels a little Brooks Koepka-ish for a different reason, but it's just a guy that if he wins, we would never live it down if we didn't take him. So I've got Max Homa and then Justin Rose, former former US Open champion. It was like 10 years ago, but he's playing fucking good golf. He was in contention this week. It seems like, you know, random weeks he gets in contention and he just hits it so well that he can hang around in those weeks. And he just has that really good, like that veteran demeanor, doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. Like he just kind of goes about his business, fucking stripes it. Uses a really weird putter. It's like one of those Axis, like heel shafted putters that like is super offset, kind of a weird deal. But Justin Rose plus 4,500 to win, plus 360 top 10. And then the last pick, which is just, I feel like great value. Sam Burns plus 6,000 to win, plus 500 top 10. I feel like he's going to win a major at some point. He's been really good this year and he's going to do it eventually. So why not this week?
Yeah, why not this week at a tough golf course? Going to be a great weekend for golf. US Open is one of the most fun weekends, if not the most fun. That doesn't get the shine at like the Masters does, but US Open is like good golf. And all right, real quick prediction. What do you think the winning score is?
Ooh, I'm going to go 5 under.
Okay, I was going to say 4, so we'll do that. We'll go a little
you take
right.
the under, I go over.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, you've got technically the under.
Yes,
I've got
that's golf's all fucked up like that.
It's backwards. But thanks for tuning in again to Big Drive Energy. Make sure to catch us on YouTube at Big Drive Energy, Twitter at Big Drive Energy, as well as Instagram, Big Drive Energy Pod, where you get these picks in beautiful graphic fashion each week before a tournament. We're on a heater. We're up 53 units. We're on a heater in life with the Nuggets winning a title. Parade is going to be in a couple days here in downtown Denver. I'm going to sauce it up. It's going to be great. And just life is good right now. So enjoy the golf. Enjoy the US Open this weekend. We will talk to y'all next week. Peace.